Hey guys, Lira Art here, and I'm working on my weekend illustrations for the week. Mostly are just for just things that I want to create. So, to be said, today's episode, I would like to talk about fitting in. That's the word. The word is fitting in. Us as human beings want to have some sort of like belonging in the sense of feeling welcome sometimes. Other times we're like hermits. Sometimes we are just to ourselves. But the topic of today is fitting in. Fitting in was a thing that popped up while looking at what I have to have ready for upcoming art events and shows and whatnot. And one of the things is that how do you fit in to, be part of something? One of the things that I was always shown, and again, these podcasts are primarily just my views. It's not a thing that should go about. We all have our own brains and we all have our own views, right? Right. I hope, yes. As an art teacher, I do have students that because of how the situation is, tends to be of, well, I don't want to look like I'm the first one that says this, so I'm gonna look over and have that person do it. And it's like that with some adults as well too. Anywho, but fitting in, you want to have that theme of yeah, we all agree, let's all agree, but to stand out, you don't want to do that. But the thing that I'm trying to say is that fitting in like helpful in the sense of just being, say, a yes man, or just agreeing on, or even creating. There's that niche for everybody to fit in. You want to make what people like, but what about what you like as an individual and you creating your own content? That's where I really aim towards. So I think trying to fit in so much tends to but puts you in a sea of every other creator content and such. And I feel like when I'm talking about this right now, it's kind of like sidetracking. But the point that I'm trying to make, and this is me as learning progress, so I thank you guys for coming along and checking it out, is being the person that to fit in, how much of it is a gift and how much of it is a curse. If you fit in, we don't know what you really are, what you're doing, because you don't stand out. Everybody might pick a certain color and you might want to use something else and you don't fit in, so that's that. So is it good or is it bad? It all depends, and it depends on what your character is, and doing the view of like wanting to be accepted and viewed, wanting to have that connection with the audience. Are you viewed as that individual, or that person that you are associated with, or people you're associated with? Could be like music, definitely like in the art scene. I see an experience with different art where there's the different styles, and to fit in, sometimes you're just born into it. Others, you're just looking and trying to find your niche. Some of us don't find our niche. Some of us have our niche, but we're always trying different things. Being an illustrator, being a cartoonist, you're always wanting and should want to expand and grow. And that's where, like I said, I'm always explaining that part is your exception. And as a person to fit in, especially in an environment where you are promoting your work or selling your work, how do you stand out where you're trying to fit in? So I just want to talk about a couple of things that I encounter, and does it really help that you to stay, to fit in, or does it affect you that you would want to, stand out? So I'm just going to bring up that, but that was my blurb earlier on. I just wrapped up 2 books that were required that I sent out to the printers. I'm really happy that I got those out. The artwork was done a while ago, but prepping the books was definitely that. So with that said, I just wanted to throw a little plug in that I will have artwork for this 2023 art show, comic show, C2E2. I will be there, table Y8, and I will be amongst awesome creators and awesome people that have different products. And speaking of that whole thing of fitting in, you will see we're all just there, and our purpose is just our creating our joy and what we do. But enough of that. I'm Allure Art, and I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube. I have my channel where you hear right now the Allure Art podcast. So that being said, creating and being a creator is just one of those things, and you just want to know, are you able to give that creation that you want to share? Do you want to collaborate and whatnot with that? And bringing up the whole thing of fitting in, it takes its toll. Sometimes it's you want to fit in to do stuff and it won't work. Sometimes you're just like, hey, I just want to do this for myself. And that's a lot of where my direction is, especially as many years I've been working on products and creating characters. I just really want to make stuff for myself and to make things that people find interesting and fun. I'd like to think my work is more original as far as a spin at things, like they could relate. I know creating characters like Alley Cat does have that Garfield, Charlie Brown, Snoopy, and Heathcliff theme to it, but you make it your own. So that's what I try to separate, where Alley Cat's not eating lasagna and hating Mondays, which is funny. He's not like the tough guy like Heathcliff, and we could never be as cool as Joe Cool Snoopy. So those are those things where I know I can't compare to, and never wanted to, because that's theirs and Alley Cat's my own. So with that, it's just really interesting. But fitting in, talking with people in general, we all have that, especially getting into schools, getting into high school and workspace. You want to fit in. If you fit in, then you are more accepting. You might get something that benefits, helps you, and it's a weird world where that's what that thing is. And then usually it's very unfortunate, the ones that don't fit in, they don't get that squeaky wheel type of help, and you just figure out what works and what doesn't. So yeah, it's that kind of world and what we are in. So I just want to talk about, like, when trying to get a customer or a client that likes what you do, how do you relate? Are you relating to them, or are you just there just for the quick dollar? And at times it is that type of deal where you have to put yourself out there and say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna draw these. Throw out an example. I'm gonna just draw these unicorns. Why? Because this is what they're asking for, and that's what the theme is, and you're just doing it just to fit in, to pay the bills. And is it something that people will inspire to do? No, it's just that we are just trying to fill in that void for that space of creating. It's part of the assignment. So I got asked to illustrate and draw stuff that I had no concept of why I'm drawing it. More so like with hilarious sports. I'm not the best sports person to talk to. I do know my city teams, but as far as asking about like who's at the Super Bowl, I can't tell you, because I could only tell you who was performing. at the halftime show, and that's all I know, and that's how far I go. So I guess I don't fit in with the sports crowd. So, but that, not that I don't participate in sports, but the thing of it is talking sports, and all I could pretty much say is, yeah, I know of sports, but getting into knowing about different players, if it's not in the news, then it's not in my radar. So, but back to again the whole thing of fitting in, being an artist, and amongst your peers that are creating. I think what's really great as artist or true artist is originality and what makes up originality. And I think with that, it's where you're from, where you grew up at, and what you present in your work. And for me, as example of me growing up in the Midwest in Chicago, I could only tell my tale. The area I grew up at is outside of Chicago, and I could use those examples. But if I'm trying to be part of something that I'm not affiliated with or whatever, it just doesn't come off original, and it doesn't come off genuine. And as an artist, you would want to be that. So when I'm told or asked about the sports thing, I like I said, I mentioned I know my home teams of my city, but other than that, I don't follow the rest. So that's all I got on that. But more power to you if you love your other sports team, which is, I guess, it's cool. Making art for, say, like superheroes, because the movies are very popular. I think it's really interesting to try to get out of your comfort zone of drawing the norm. So if you're so used to drawing one thing, you should try to incorporate different abilities. Not so much that you are what's the word I'm looking for? Trying to pick the flavor of the month, because people could see right through that. But I think as a creator, you should always want to learn about what is it why people like things. So I could only use these examples, like what I see in my perspective of things like Star Wars is popular, more so. What else? Marvel, superheroes. I remember in school people laughing at kids like me liking comic books, but now as adults, it's really cool, and it brings people together, especially like families. So that's awesome. That's that thing where you could feel connected, and even more so having that sense of nobody not understanding the comic scene back in the day. Well, for me, when I say back in the day, they didn't really get it, but now it's like, oh yeah, so and so and their grandparents like it. I'm like, wow, that's times have changed. So it's really cool that people can get into that and fit in with that. See, it all goes back to it. So the word is fitting in. How do you fit in? How do you fit in? How do you fit in? And so yeah, it's all in making it your originality and not forced, and fitting in to make something, if it's from your perspective, that's cool. So if you want to make, say, a Spider-Man, and you want him to be from, let's use Spider-Verse that's coming out, and there's no spoilers there, but if there's multiple Spider-Mans, you could only imagine what can we see what Spider-Man would be in different sexes or a race, and it's cool and it's great because there's somebody there who's created this, and it is from their perspective of, hey, I fit in. And I think Spider-Man is the one that sticks out the most because we all want to be him. You never know what he is under his mask, but he has that. Man, I'm all with blurs right now, and maybe it's not my coffee intake, but maybe it is, which is not the sponsor, and I love my coffee. So, but that being said, it's the thing about the example of Spider-Man, and he could be anyone because he could be black, white, red, purple, whatever, but it's the awesomeness of him, as well as the purpose of him, of why we all connect to him. Man, I feel like this is a weird Spider-Man anthology of trying to make this sound like how we fit in, but Spider-Man's that, and how I see it. So I feel very silly just bringing up Spider-Man now, but it's that connection of that. And even to take a comic book dive in, Spider-Man was part of Fantastic Four for a second, hung out with the X-Men, part of the Avengers, but he still was his own guy to fit in. He was still his own act, so that's that. But I don't think I have anything more to say about in relations to how using comic references, because I'm not those deep into comics, as in telling you what I think should be, but that's just the point of that with writing and drawing the actual comics, which are fantastic. But I just wanted to talk about fitting in as creators and making stuff and wanting to be part of something. And sometimes we have our niche, sometimes we don't. And I think more importantly, what you do your best. And if it helps people, that's fantastic. You hit the mark. But if it doesn't, then go back to the drawing board and try something else that will help that. But that's only to be said if you are feeling wanted or needed to be part of something. And we all have that sense of need of, as a human being, wanting that. I don't know anybody who even though if we are introverts, we do have people around us. That doesn't mean that we don't want that connection. We all do. It's just who we are more open to talk to on that level. So fitting in as an artist, fitting in as a creator, again, that's what I'm bringing up about, is us as creating and wanting to make something just to fit in. So if somebody's doing all these, the flavor of the month, there's no reason why I would see it as, hey, I could do this and that. But if that's what it is to fit in, I'm more of, let me try something else. If you guys are using these colors, I'm gonna go the opposite. If it's this genre, I'm gonna go over here. And it's just a thing, as an artist, you always should want to, because that stuff dries up so fast that you don't understand why it's a thing where what becomes authentic and genuine, opposed to getting that person to buy what you did or do and just get a quick buck. Like, I'm always felt the connection with people that like my work have always came back and saw what I've been creating, and always hearing the word progress, as we should, instead of keeping certain items and just to fit in. So there's madness to my method of why I keep saying this, is because we all have this, and we are just trying to figure out ourselves in this world. There's no guidebook. We don't know what or how to, what is expected, and we're on this blue marble for so long that we make the best of what we can, and as a human being we should strive for to be a good person, as well as making something that will, help out in our world, if that my tinfoil hat allows me to say. So I think creating content is cool as a whole, is great, but when it's just too many people all doing the same thing, how do you stand out? How do you even think about wanting to do that if you're brought in and the person that brought you in is the main person? Why would I want to do what they're doing in that sense? I would imagine that the person who does what they do, have you there, you should want to do something a little different. It could be in the same genre, it could be in the same style-esque, but why would you want to still, do that? If there's a theme where it's about, say, Star Wars, why not try do some other theme of a different genre? Because that theme of Star Wars is all taken up, and we could just get that person who draws the Star Wars to draw your design. But if you come over and you have your own theme that you're going for, say a rock or metal or hip-hop group character, but you're drawing that style in that design, you have a better chance of people accepting what you just did right there, because you're not fitting in the sense of like, well, that's what he just made, so like what I'm trying to say is, like, I don't have a desire to want two pieces of art of you drawing the same Star Wars character. I need to draw something different that will get me as the person that says, hey, you know what, he or she brought something different to the table. And that's what I've always tried to do, as well as I try to get people to say, it's like, even with my students that want to draw the same thing, I said, hey, that's cool, but you are your individual, you should want to do that. And one of my exercises that I have them do is, because I know they want to copy off each other, is I'll just have them write their letters of their names. And the chances are, I haven't encountered this yet, knock on wood, but I don't have a kid with whose best friend's the same name as theirs, so it allows me to show that they have their own individual with their name. But as adults and as creating, you kind of have to have that thing where you have something original or stand out from your next person. Me doing these art shows, I know what's really cool is having the group of people that you are around is your theme. So because my stuff is stylized as for kids, there's no reason why would you put me next to the rated R or if there is any like a rated X creator. You would want to have the person that's by you that fits your bill, and that's where I'm at. But then if you are there, how do you stand out or fit in? How? So your benefit of standing out and then fitting in is you would want to do something totally different. And I almost hit the stop button on my recorder, which is funny. But back to that is fitting in. And the things that I ask people is like, if you're there with other artists and you're trying to make a buck, pay a bill, be original, how do you do that? So there's that thing of wanting to fit in again. And are you gonna all do the same thing, or are you guys all going to do something to stand out? And it's not to be mean or anything. It's like, what is your thing? So I just want to do this audio on that and talk about what is it that what we do as creators to stand together and fit in, and other things that we just don't do to, stand out from the crowd. So I don't know. I just had that in my mind while I'm drawing for today. And I wanted to incorporate that in today's audio of today's podcast, is fitting in. And fitting in is a good thing, but at the same time, how do you do it to stand out that you could, be different from what your peers are doing, that you're not stepping on each other's toes, that you're not messing up your bag, that you are doing stuff that makes you unique individual, even though you guys are all doing the same thing. And that's that. So I'm a little art. I am doing these sketches that I'm getting ready for my time over at C2E2, and a lot of stuff that I do for my students at my schools that incorporate me drawing on the spot. That it's just a thing that they always ask, and I just try to incorporate. A lot of my sketches that I do, I end up taking them to school and passing them out so they can go ahead and color over them and just use it as practice and drawing. So being a art teacher and doing the comic scene is really fun, and it's cool. And that's just my way of we're not all doing the same thing, but I know a couple of teachers that are both teaching and doing comics, and it's great. But it's also a thing where I could go ahead and incorporate with this fitting in. So when I do this, I'm doing this to help and get the kids to make content and show that they could do this as well. And that's how I do it, to fit in, if that makes sense. But I'm just blabbering on about that, and I just wanted to talk about that for today's topic of fitting in. So how do you fit in, and what do you do to fit in? Are you doing something that just to fill a void, or do you trying to fit in to have a purpose? Are you here to entertain, or are you here to educate? That's just a question I just want to ask. And of course, I ask myself all the time. I do what I do to fit in, to help. I want to help human beings, people around me, animals, plants. I'm a seed level plant father, by the way. My plants are there, but it's winter time, so I don't know if I'm watering them enough or not, but that's for another story. And with that, it's just the thing that I just want to say, how do you do to fit in? So I just wanted to do today's podcast, and rather what it be, it's done. So I'm going to leave that as that. I will be posting more. I want to thank you guys that listen. I want to hear from you guys to let me know what you guys think. I do post these on my channel. I'm on YouTube. I am on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. And I'm on the Spotify and Apple channel as well, too, with my Anchor podcast. So I'm a little art. I'm going to continue on making content. I'm going to continue on making my art. I'm going to continue on to do this because this is how I am to fit in, if I could end that with that. So with that, you guys take good care. Hope to hear from you guys. I want to hear from you guys what you guys think about what I post and talk about, and what can we do to fit in, and what we can to not fit in that makes us individual creators. So I want to say thank you guys, and I hope to talk to you guys soon. All right, peace out.